I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and as usual, we are recording this episode at the Trio Media Studios. I keep telling you to come here because their rates are very, very friendly to your pocket. In this economy, we need to save money, and the space is also very, very cozy and a nice place to just like it's a really good place. The people we are dealing with here are also very nice, very easy, very young, very fresh. So you will love it here. Come to Trio Media Studios, especially beginner podcasters. I keep saying it's a very good space for you. But on our episode today, we have heathens.
You have one job.
You are put on this world to believe in your maker, and you said, well, no. But on the In All Honesty podcast today, we'll be discussing why you left the church, why you left God, why you left faith. Basically, just why did you leave that space? And in studio with me is Marcy and KK, my besties. Everyone who comes to is my bestie. But I'll give you...
I'm the bestie number one. Au wengine si watambui.
Sasa sutulia, alafu tukupe chance. Haya. I'll give you the chance to introduce yourselves as you'd like to be known. We can start with you, Marcy.
Oh, my name is Marcy Atieno.
Yeah.
I would consider myself agnostic.
Okay.
Yes, agnostic is somebody who is indifferent, in between atheism and atheism
belief
and belief.
The other one is theism, right?
Yeah, belief is theism. So I would consider myself an agnostic.
Yeah.
I am actually not a Christian. I am an ex-Christian, but I am not sure about the African spiritualism. I'm really curious to know about it. I wish I could so that I would just go towards that direction. So I'm still in between atheism and traditional African spiritualism.
Okay, so the one you're leaning towards. Anyway, we'll get to talk about it. And KK.
Yo, what's up? I'm KK, Keep Like It, Keep Prop, or as others know me as Jeff. Yeah, I am a Christian. I just left the church, not God, not my faith. Though there was a time I was very atheistic, and then also now morphed into agnosticism. Then now found my faith in Christianity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I've heard of those people who leave and then find their way back to the same faith. But now you come back with your own, I think, redefinition, which makes it easier. But anyways, as you know, this is a very heavy topic, and where niliweka hii prompt hivi 30 minutes. Ni kama people are not even typing on their keypads. Wanatafuta tu typewriter. I touched a nerve. I am sorry. I am so sorry. So I have so many responses, so many long responses as well. So I'll try to cover at least most of them, but I won't get to each and every one of them. But hopefully we'll get to discuss like what each and every message I got is highlighting. So I'll start with a prompt that I posted, which asked, did you leave church or faith, and why did you or did you not? So the responses I got here were, I'll start with the short one so that we can compile them. Feeling judged by older church members. Someone else said, the more I went to church, the more my faith was tested. I had to leave. People were toxic. Someone else said, there was no place for me as an autonomous being, a woman. Do you have thoughts on that, Marcy? Okay, I can continue while we...
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I haven't left church, even though the people weren't the kindest. The goodness of the Lord exceeded the bad. Okay. I left church. My uncle told us once that our ancestors believed God. Our ancestors believed God was in the mountain, that is Kirinyaga. So this is, I guess, African traditional religion. And that the whites came and told them that God resides in church, not mountains. I was fascinated by mountains then. Or nature. Once I learned that, never went to church again, ever. I can't bring myself to read the Bible written in white man's words of events they didn't experience. First, hey, Jesu, punctuation. Written in the white man's words of events they didn't experience firsthand. Sorry, it's long. No. Yours is among the shortest. After being paid by a pastor to act in church, from that day, nothing can convince me to go back. Okay, hiyo sikuwa nimeona.
Hiyo ni kali.
So people are being paid to act in church. That would make sense. What are your thoughts first on Benny Hinn and the concert we had here? The whatever.
Crusade.
The crusade.
It was unnecessary.
It was uncalled for.
Okay. I guess there will be no further comments. Ati Judaista ni lazima kwenda chapel. They are downplaying it, but ask alma maters.
We had a whole conversation about that on Twitter last week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to... what was it
Honestly,
about?
because when you get into Daystar, you have to proclaim your faith. Then, so you have to subscribe to Christianity first before you sign the contract. As per the information I was given, because I did a short course in Daystar, period blocks. Yeah. So it's a short course, a month long. But now you can get a certification without attending chapel. So the same as the people who are studying there, they can't graduate without attending chapel. Yeah. Tuesday mornings and Thursday evenings.
I honestly see no problem with that. If it's out there, it's in the open, you're going to a particular institution and these are their rules, you have to subscribe to this faith. If you've decided to go to that school, just abide or change schools. I don't think I really... Was there a debate really?
I thought that's a public...
Yeah.
Kind of a public institution, because, and I feel like people are now...
Yeah, because also there's a really good amount of Muslim students.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. So
how did they get it?
And then they have to... No, then they have to go for chapel.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how they did that thing, but yeah. Because if you ask me, if you have a different faith, you're allowed to practice your faith, you know.
Yeah.
Despite it being a Christian university. I mean, I do understand that they want to uphold Christian values and everything.
Yeah.
But also don't impose your faith on other people, you know.
Okay. I'm just thinking, if I'm a church and I start a school, then this school is basically part of the church. It's just a branch of the church. So...
Then you should limit your admissions to only Christians.
I thought so. I'm surprised to hear that there are Muslim students.
Because you don't have to admit a Muslim. Then you want them to follow your religion.
Okay, yeah, that's very weird. Cargo, the levels are fine. Okay. Someone else says, I couldn't take the lies plus the opulence flaunted by the pastors. Methodist Church. Though. People have rich pastors, and then unakayaga route 11 ukirudi home. Anyway, someone else said, church. I don't know what they meant by that. They were asking for a lot of money. In this economy, you could not afford God.
Nigga, we broke.
Okay. So let me read now the ones that were sort of heavy. I think this now will give us like points to just generally discuss. Am I ready? Hiya. Good morning, Olive. A beautiful day it is. It is actually. It rained. The main reason why I left that church was seeing young girls being groomed and taught how to be good wives. These old men and women would take any chance they got to teach 15, 16, and 17-year-old girls how to be good wives. When the lessons sank in properly, these elders would make them their second, third, or fourth wives. A 50 or a 60-year-old a 60-something-year-old man taking a small 18-year-old child to be their wife is just too crazy. Also, the church rules were set so that the women would never have a voice or say. In conclusion, those are some of the things that made me leave that church. I left Christianity because I had questions, lots of them. The religion just didn't make sense. So here there's the aspect of grooming in church. I was livid when I read this. I didn't know it was blatant grooming. I thought it was the pressure for people to get married. You know how church, there's always so much pressure for people to just get married. But your thoughts on, have you heard of grooming in church, like blatant like this?
But that is what happens.
There's sometimes when it happens.
Like the elders in the church take second and third wives who are 18.
Zile kanisa nimeenda zi.
Yeah, I didn't.
But there's some places where unaona tu people are being groomed into becoming said wives.
The church.
Yeah.
The church, you know how clubs ni ya wanaume? No, church are for women.
It's for women.
That's it.
Why?
Because women are very emotional, so it's very easy to target them and brainwash them. That's what apart in most churches. It's actually women.
I don't even think it's about even being. I think it's gullibility.
Yeah,
true.
True. That's what apart most churches. It's women who is the majority. Yeah.
Okay. I was so surprised by this. I wanted this person to tell me the name of the church, so at least we call it out, and then like that must be a crime of some sort. I know the girl is 18. They can legally get married, but that must be, I don't know. I feel like it's a crime of some sort. It should be.
In our eyes, it's criminal, but according to the law.
Yeah, by the law, I think they can get away with it. Yeah. That is, I don't know. It is just disturbing to say the least. Another person told me about leaving church. I left because I realized what kept me there was fear. In the church I grew up in, there was this idea that you had to be righteous to receive any blessings. Contrast this with the fact that very few people in the church were rich or even living comfortable lives. Does it mean they weren't righteous enough? Another thing that pushed me into leaving the church was realizing that I did what I wanted, then would look for justification or hate myself for it. Staying in church would have turned me into a hypocrite. I'd be out here preaching water and drinking wine. Remembering that God reigns on righteous and the wicked, I chose to be wicked and free from all the self-loathing for not measuring up. So I think this is like you. They left the church but didn't leave God per se. And it was because church is very hypocritical. And for me, when she said she left the church out of fear, I remember even me, it was trying when I couldn't fit in church, but I couldn't leave because of fear. And for me, it was fear of
burning in hell.
It was detrimental to the brand.
Judgment.
Our family had established a good name in the church. So there's a brand to uphold. There's a reputation to uphold. And for me, I think for the longest time, it was just that you'd be the one who was known to have, you're the one who went astray. So for me, it was that fear. And later on, I was just like, so the whole reason I'm in church is just out of fear and nothing else. If you gave me options, I'd be out of here. But anyway, yes. Your experiences with how basically you left the church or why you were in there for?
Oh, so for me in 2019, I think that's I was always having my doubts and questions. And then I asked myself, so where are my ancestors? Are they in hell or heaven? Because they died before Christianity came. I couldn't answer that one. So, and then I realized if I was given birth to, or if I was born in Coast, I would be a Muslim. because the Arabs settled along the coastal
That's
line.
true, yeah.
So I also realized that religion is geographical. I didn't even have to go further. Yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm done.
Imetosha.
Yeah, so this is enough. So, my mom is very staunch.
Yeah.
So they started saying me not going to church. So
Yeah.
they actually wrote that I would call myself an atheist at this point because it's a transition point. So the wanasema Mercy doesn't just like going to church, but they don't know that I don't believe in their God. I don't believe in their practices and all these things. And I don't care to tell them. I'm just okay. I'm just not going to church, please.
Okay. For you?
Ish. Mine is long because it starts not from a congregant point of view, but from a person who was in the worship team.
On a story ya praise and worship hapa. Maliza tulikusho.
Dad and mom.
Yeah. Yes, imisikwenda kanisa dad and mom is what
Yo,
you are that one.
Are we ready?
That's a whole other rabbit hole. Yeah. So I was highly invested in worship, in serving the church. I was in the worship team kutoka tu nimalize hivi form 4 all the way. I've done concerts, I've done services, I've done missions in different parts of the country, still serving with the church and everything. Yeah, and it got to a point now where I just got very exhausted from all these things. And then also I really had nothing to show for it, like unarudi home, you're just tired. You don't even want to go back to practice or anything, but you've committed I committed so many years. I think I did it from 2013 to around mid 2017. Then I decided I'm going to take like a 3-month hiatus. Ni rudi around 2018 January, but ni kama hiatus bado inaendelea.
Was the break intentional? Like I knew I'm going to rest from committing this much.
Yeah, the break was very intentional. I had every intention to go back, but ilifika tu mali I'm just like, I can't, because there's a lot more than just serving and being exhausted. Pia kuna people who want to be accountable over your life, so wanna come, then they're always in your space. They want to be in your life. Then tapata now there are those who just want to hold you accountable. Ni wako na motion ya kupeana. Then there's some people who just don't respect your time and whatever. Because I remember when I was taking this break, kuna wase who are nagging me to come back to play. So napata I'm say please come. I was like, I can't. This is my time and everything. And then now also the fact that I've been known in the instrumentalist circles and everything. So napata hata nikienda church ingine, msata niambia tu kujo inge worship team. Na sasa mimi nataka tu kuwa fan. Nataka tu kuwa spectator.
I think I've experienced a lot of that because I can't even dare walk into like random church because I'm not scared of like being in different places of worship. If you call me to a mosque today, taniambia tu vile dress code tatokea. So I think that is when you walk into church and someone hears you sing and they can hear you're a decent singer, it's just like, you should come and worship. You should come and worship. Use your talent for God.
Minister. Ooh.
It's okay.
Kuna buzzwords that are traumatic.
Oh yeah, true. Minister to Oh yeah. So you've said that and I've remembered there's someone who actually said sent in something very specific to that. They said, "Hi Olive, hide ID. I've been binging this podcast like a series, so therapeutic." Oh, hi. Aww. Thank you.
Hi too.
Anyways, church was a really significant part of my life. I loved singing because it was a platform where I could express myself until I saw the homophobia in the church firsthand and the threats of hell and weaponization of religion. Like people would be violent with both me and my queer friends in the name of it's a sin against God, and a deep sense of self-righteousness in them made me just unsubscribe to the religion because that wasn't the love I wanted to identify myself with. It wasn't easy, but as always, my mental health comes first. For now, I am just a humanist. Okay, that was not the one I meant to read, but we can still talk on that in the sense. Wewe kwanza umetoboa masikio.
Hiyo sio shida. Ni urembo tu.
Ni urembo too, but I can imagine for queer people. Okay, maybe because Mary Liz was supposed to come on this episode, but since she's not here, we cannot. I think there's a perspective that we can't, I guess, chime into. But for me, one of them was I've seen how the church has treated queer people. And the one thing I struggled with the most at that time when I was still in that stage for Nitoke Church and Nitoke, the one thing I struggled with most is I saw my queer friends still going to church. I saw my queer friends still believing in God. And to me, the conflict in my head was, is it Stockholm syndrome? Like, how do you still want validation from this person who's clearly shown you they don't want you? They'd have you dead if they could. For me, that was something I didn't understand.
Just to chime in on that, because I have queer friends who are Christians.
Yeah.
And they love worship, they love everything about church and everything. And utapata like Christianity is following Christ. Yeah, Christ was not a homophobe. He was hanging out with everybody who people are deeming outcasts and everything.
Yeah.
And for them, they're not going to church to be validated by the homophobe. They're just going straight to worship. Like wanajua kuenda kufanya kanisani.
Yeah.
And so I've been with them and everything. Like it's them, they genuinely worship. Like hakuna ati like if a person just to be a homophobe, hiyo ni shida yao.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the quality of air, you know. Yeah. Lakini there's a tweet that I saw. Walisema ati if churches kick out queer people, nikina nani watabaki worship team?
Well.
I was like, wow. And people had a lot to say about that.
Even if men of the cloth. Who would be men of the cloth if you kicked out closeted queer?
Or even narcissistic.
But anyway, we couldn't, I guess we can't have so many perspectives on that. I wish we had a queer person at least to give us perspective on that. But in the sense of who you are, I've seen that for me, nilieka dreadlocks. The way everything I got, I was being called left, right, and center. Why have you put this? Has your mother seen this? It's my mother who's been taking care of my hair. She's the one who knew I'm not about to deal with this girl's big head anymore. So she took me to get dreadlocks. So I don't know what... I don't know if my mom was operating from a point of ignorance, or she didn't know. For her, it was just a hairstyle that would help her figure out this child's situation. Because me, I didn't like salon, I didn't like anything. But kweke watu hizo dread, there was so much. It was a whole thing in church. And you know, I am part of the OLAVEORAWOs. So if something I do will be noted immediately, you cannot be in that family and be discreet because your other family members are busy keeping the brand, okay? So if you do something off, it will be immediately noted. And it was just snide comments, and it's just like, you shouldn't put this, it doesn't look good. And some of the there's a woman who came to me and told me dreadlocks is not, what is it called? It's not godly or something of the sort. And I'm looking at this woman and I'm thinking, first of all, you are Kikuyu. Do you know the tribute you should pay to Mau Mau? And this is their hairstyle. You know, like learn your learn your history. And anyway, me, I don't know. I just felt so many things about how people in church feel about how you look. Yeah, just looks generally. Do you have any experience on looks in church?
Oh, looks in church. You see, I left religion.
Oh, you left Kitambo.
Like 2019. I was 20 what? I was young. So I haven't really had that experience. Plus, even before I left religion, I wasn't a very staunch Christian. Of course, I used to get the being born agains here and there. You're always going to the front to get saved. I don't know from what.
Unaitangwa painters, unarudisha kwa paint unaendelea kupaka.
Yeah, but I think I had the most awkward experience during those many times I was going to get saved.
Yes.
So I went there, and then this priest, pastor, touched my head, and then they were praying, and then he was pushing me. It's like he wanted me to fall down. So I was not falling. So the lady who had come with that lasso to hold me in case I fall down. So she's the one who actually fell down and started screaming and all these things. And then I was like,
Transfer.
why all this drama? Why all this drama?
Carry forward.
I was so
Return
done.
to sender.
I was done. So
But hiyo yako guy mimi experiences in church. I've had experiences where I've gone to. Now this was a place where, what was it? It was a reality TV, whatever. And there, now we are Christians. We are in an academy, Christians, and then you compete every weekend. It's a TPF, but Christian. And during those sessions, when the pastors would come, pastors would pray, and people would fall. And I'm just there, and I'm just thinking, am I that big of a sinner? Is my
you're
sin,
not falling.
like, ama shetani anaishi ndani yangu. And then you've been questioning these things from the time you were a child, because me, I didn't fit in church from the time I was a kid. I had so many questions. Things just didn't add up. And now I'm a grown up, and I still can't fall when people are praying the exorcism. So I'm thinking, could it be the devil has been using me from the time I was a child? There's also a lot of guilt in church. You're just thinking like you're constantly sinning, and that is why things are happening a certain way. So for me, I just felt like I'm constantly sinning. And I think I saw a TikTok where someone said, in the church, guilt has been sold to us so much that if you have a bad experience, you think it's punishment for something. Vile nimekwama tu kwa traffic, I think, jana sikupea Mercy sweet akiniomba, and for that reason I think traffic is punishment for So you can't just live a normal life, small inconveniences here and there. Everything is pegged to something you must have done, and therefore it is a punishment or a reward.
Result oriented.
Yeah. You had thoughts?
I always have thoughts. Maybe, but for me, I'm glad I went to churches where we had very wise leaders, to say. Wow. The church I've been to, hajakuwa na hizo mavituko ati you must fall down and whatever. I've never been in a position where ati you're being castigated for not speaking in tongues, which is also another big thing that I usually... Yeah, like, why are you going there speaking some blah, 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 and, you can also just choose to speak Hebrew, or you can be touched to speak Kikuyu, and understand, because it's still speaking in tongues. Those are different tongues. That's why it's called your mother tongue. So, why are you murmuring some stuff and then, being all this dramatic? And I just at some points, it's not even just about hearing. It's just, it could just manifest as discernment, like mse anaongea Kiitaliano, but you can understand.
Yeah.
And now those great acts of kuokoka, I've never come to experience them firsthand.
Same. Actually, I was known for kuokoka for a very long time. People just thought I was saved. But in real sense, I was a real fraud. I was just questioning. I was like, you guys just trust me. When you have a good voice and you're eloquent, unaingia tu mahali unaekwa praise and worship leader. Unaingia tu mahali unaekwa sijui chair leader of what?
Ushering.
You're just there. And then, was it I don't know who referred to this experience. In a previous podcast, I think I had mentioned that there's a time I was at the club, and then a guy who knew me from church came over to me and was like, oh my goodness, Orawo, don't tell anyone you saw me here. Please don't tell anyone from church you saw me. Please just don't tell anyone you saw me here. And he was really begging. And I was like, in this moment, can't he not realize that he can also use this against me? We are both at the club. Ata ya ende aseme, by then niliona orao club. But he's so drenched in guilt and probably living at 2 lives that he just couldn't see that, oh, you are also here. Then we can be buddies. We can do scene on the... tunaweza scene back end. Tukiwa mabeshte. But to him, it was just like, oh my goodness, you are from church. Oh my, don't tell anyone here. I'm sorry, guys. It's traumatic. I hope you found therapy. I don't remember my people from church.
People are adults. Why do you care not to be seen in a club? You're an adult.
Check your privilege.
Manze.
Where people are so...
No, wait. What's the worst they can do?
I think when you're in a space of trauma.
No, it's not even trauma.
Kwa trauma bond in a church.
No, it's not even.
It's
So
a bond.
you feel like you're entitled to the church, and the church is entitled to you. So should you be at the wrong place at the wrong time, a place that's not church worthy, you'll feel some type of way, because people are possibly looking up to you. Unaweza pata huo msee labda atalikonga tu msee anaimba kwa worship team, is one of the song leaders, like msee anaimba word for word, bar for bar, akilid mangoma zake and everything, but baadaye unampata na kunywa mabia zake 3. Si vibaya,
a little for your
si vibaya, yeah. It's the problem is to overindulge. But the fact that it's already alcohol, that's already dishing.
Yes.
So now wewe unakaa kwa mahali kuna pombe, kuna drugs, kunaweza kuwa na usherati inaendelea. Like there's just so much negative, like badness, if that's a word. In the atmosphere. Alafu you're so comfortable in it, then you have the same amount of grace, same amount of like gusto to go and worship in the church mbele ya wasi after doing all that the previous night. You're gonna feel some type of way. You'll come back and just manifest. It might not manifest the first time, but like the more you do it, itakuwa tu, what am I doing?
But this whole term of being saved or born again, they just mean being a good person. I mean,
No,
actually
imagine
not.
being born again.
It's not a good person, because people you can be good people, but you can't make it to heaven because you've not accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior. So being born again is, and exactly what he said. I think I will tell people, if you're in a space where you're feeling like what you're doing is not harming anyone, or it's not wrong, but you feel guilty, you're probably the good person in this situation, in this like church situation. Because what we've seen is people, especially people who hold like higher positions in church, they'll do things like they'll go home and they might mistreat their house helps. They'll see people. They're just very vile people to be around. But then they'll come back on Sunday, stand on the pulpit and worship God. But you being seen drinking beer, that is more sin than their sin.
So, because they're born again.
Because them they are born again. So them they've accepted Jesus as their personal savior with their bad manners.
So accepting Jesus ndio inakuwa born again.
Apparently.
That's it.
Because I'm sorry, this is going to be so offensive to so many people. I hope I don't lose audience.
Can you lose?
But here's the thing. Usually I'm very keen when the first thing I learn about you is your faith. If I meet you and the first thing I learn is, oh, Jesus, oh, let's go to, you suggest a church. I'm usually very careful about those people. And I'm as careful as even on social media. If your bio says, Sijui child of God, Sijui daughter of the king, Sijui, I'm out.
Father, son,
I'm out.
Manu,
You are guilty until proven innocent. Because the people I've met who bring God first have turned out to be very, very vile people.
I think it's true. Actually, I've actually met a very narcissistic pastor.
But aren't they? Or?
They are. Because, you're telling somebody, for example, they have your money, and then you're asking it back. You know this guy will chat you with. What did he tell me?
Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give to God what belongs to God. Ama tithe.
No, like, instead of akupe pesa, anakwambia, like, they're not accountable. That's
They're
the
not
word.
yes,
Yeah, they were supposed to give it to you on Tuesday. Imefika Tuesday hajakupea, and instead of calling you to tell you, hey, I didn't actually make it, I'll actually give it to you tomorrow. Ama on they just go silent, and then now when you ask for
When you
it,
call, yeah.
now they're very rude. Oh, you know, I'm a man of God.
I cannot steal from you.
Aoni
The
con
most
man.
Narcissistic
accountability.
person I've met was a pastor.
Aoni con man.
No, ni pastor. Ni pastor.
Pia anaweza kuwa con man too.
Hey, me.
I'm very
Because also in the same
was so
breath,
done
like
with
they're
him.
very the most toxic person I've ever encountered was a very staunch Christian.
yeah.
Yes, they are, because
Like,
they don't have accountability. For them, they hide behind, I am born again, or I am this.
Yeah, there are those people
So
who
they don't want to
They use their
address
faith.
issues.
yeah, there are those people who hide under the guise of Christianity. Because also, like a pure Christian of good heart, utamjua tu. Like,
That's true.
you know, kama venye msee anasemanga, old money versus new money will shout. Old money, same
Very
way.
silent.
And I remember there was a debate that came up when still I think I was a teenager. And at the time we were doing, I think it was Bible debates. And someone brought up that I don't know what was happening at that time in Eldoret, but quite a number of people were converting to Islam.
Or Islam.
Yes, Islam. And so there was this, why are people converting to Islam? You know, I'm sorry, Muslims, but if the way the church talks about Islam is not in a nice way. The way they talk about every other religion is not in a nice way. So there was just like, the devil is using whatever to take people away from this. And it was very radical messaging that was very disturbing to me even as a teenager. I know I'm part of the praise and worship team. I'm seated here. I know I'm supposed to believe in what this church is telling me. But no, you can't just sit here and say because someone has converted to a particular religion, that other religion is the devil. But at the time when the question came up, I think for me, my thought process was, or rather even for people who've like just gone from, they started hanging out with atheists and then just went into being agnostic or being spiritual in other sense. What my reasoning was, these people have experienced such kindness from someone who didn't identify as. Ulikutana tu na mtu akakusaidia, akakwa beshte yako, a very beautiful human at heart. You had the best experiences with this person, and you didn't learn what they are until later on in life. And then you realize, wait, this person will not get into heaven because they are not born again, even as beautiful as their heart is. So maybe it was just those small things that people used to look at. When someone is hungry, doesn't have a place to stay, and the church didn't offer them that, and a Muslim opened their home to them, tell me why that person would not find it sensible that this other side seems to be a more tolerable, more loving community than the church. If you've met atheists who've opened their home to you and they've treated you with kindness and they've loved you and they didn't care for who you are or what your background was, and to think that this person won't get into heaven. Basi tuende hell. Uko kuna kakubamba, watu wazuri wako huko. So
Na venye kuishi already
it makes sense because I've also met like the greatest atheists.
yeah.
They're the
Like
best.
they're so good. Hey,
We are the best.
kuna wale wenda wazimu.
Ni kidogo
Kuna
sana.
cloud chasers.
Kuna cloud chasers.
No.
Yeah.
But most atheists are usually realistic. They're just realistic. Why do you need to treat somebody badly? You know, somebody else would argue they're not born again. But you know, for an atheist, most of them are humanitarians.
Oh yeah, the one who said he became humanist.
Yeah, humanist. So for humanists, the issue nakuwaga, as long as you're a human being, I should treat you well.
Yeah.
Full stop. It does not matter your religion. So I think that's why most atheists are good.
if you're in the humanist space, because I think I was a humanist for a bit, and the conflict there for a while was, can you be a humanist and a Christian at the same time? And you are just being told, you try, you'll see.
I think you can.
You can, but a lot of things contradict. With humanists, you fight for rights of different people, and you find there are people who the church does not accept. So you're caught in between, where you're just like, okay, me, I believe in rights for the LGBTQ community, but here the church does not.
Is that the church as a physical church with the people inside, ama is it what God or Jesus has said? Because that's the difference between how you choose to interpret what Jesus has been doing, as a Christian, and also like what you're fighting for. Because Jesus himself, like, kila msea kuja tu kwangu, and he'll accommodate everyone. Him really didn't think about nani ama religion yake and whatever. He saw a human as a human being.
Why the problem I have with that is, why do we want to separate Christians from the church? I for a very long time believed that, yes, your relationship with God is personal, and what happens in the church, that's just the church. Like, those are people there, that's a building. Let's separate it from actual people. But then it got to a point where I started wondering, but you are the earthly representation of your God. Who else am I supposed to go and have an out-of-body experience with this God for me to know what God is like personally? From the time I'm born, there is someone who has taken the role of portraying who Jesus is, who God is. If that person is a vile person, that's what God looks like to me. Because you won't come out here and meet me, I've never met your God, I've never met your faith, and then tell me, our God is good, our God is this and that, and then the things you do just don't correlate. And I'm just like, so who is this God? If I've never read the Bible, I've never heard of Christianity, and I met you and you are a bad person, and you identified mostly with your God and your religion, how then am I supposed to separate you from the church or from the religion that is Christianity? So as much as Christians keep saying, no, it's not that, it's the church you went to, it's the people you met, it's not every Christian. Just know you're sounding like when men say it's not every man.
Not all men.
Because you go and talk to your people and find out how you will represent yourselves out here, so that we have a good picture of you.
Yeah. No, because even just according to that, because they're also the people we call false prophets. Yeah. And they'll do everything to blend into the society and everything. And some may not know that they are false prophets, and some will know that they are false prophets. Unajua?
So you can be a false prophet and not know yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if you're in church every Sunday, you read the Bible every day, but you're treating people badly. Yeah. And that's like your nature. Like, si kitu umeanza juzi because you're a Christian, like that has been your nature, and you're not trying to change it. Like, that's just you moving according to how much you know. Yeah. So to be that, you are a false prophet because you're not embodying what you're standing for. Yeah. Yeah. And now you can imagine what that is doing to other people now, like you saying that is the representation of God that you might have in your mind.
Yeah.
So utapata tu kuna, there's a lot of this, like it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm just saying that there are different factors into how people see Christianity and religion. Because that is umesema to your point, your church, why are we trying to put the church in a different section? Because the church in itself is a community. Yeah, where 2 or 3 are gathered, that's where a church is. Yeah. However, I can choose to go there but not be part of the community. So I'm just going for the temple experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But it is clear, but when you come at us we just think church. Even like
for
the
sure,
first time, if someone approaches you and they just say Christian, immediately think they're a
non
representation
invalid.
of the church.
Yeah.
So what I would ask other religions, every religion, go and deal with your people. Make sure you've plucked out false prophets. Make sure you're clean in there, so that by the time people are interacting with your people, they don't have a different. What is it? This thing has played out even in feminism. The loudest third wave feminists were on Twitter who just hated men for no apparent reason and did not understand the initial course. So this has played out so many times.
It's played out in every
Yes.
aspect that there is a certain group.
There's a community.
Yeah.
So just figure out with your people. For me, at this point, you can't tell me the church is different from its people. Me, I'll continue meeting people. KK is a good person. I don't care for his religion. Like that, we'll just interact on those bases. And if I meet you and the first thing you want to tell me about yourself is your faith,
religion.
then I don't think we have much to discuss. You can go and find someone in that your faith, you talk.
Hai ni aje nimeokoka.
So what to do?
So, thanks man. Back to you, Jeff, in studio.
You had thoughts?
Oh yeah, but I was also thinking about the importance of religion in the society. I think it's important
It is.
because imagine all these millions of people, you're telling them that there's nobody who cares about you,
Yeah.
because there isn't anyway. But if you tell them that there's nobody who cares about you and you are going to die and just disappear, I don't think people are able to just come to terms with that. So religion somehow brings hope to them. Yeah. Now inasaidia sana when it comes to hope to the multitude. And then the only thing I don't understand is, for example, like if I'm a Christian and maybe I'm having a sick child and I'm praying to God to heal my kid, but then the kid dies, either way they'll still find an excuse. Oh, God took him for a reason, or ameponywa because he's powerful.
One way or the other, it was God. Ni God.
Yeah.
Ni good, manze.
Hey, you just wonder. So
Yeah.
what exactly does God do?
Yeah.
But I recognize the importance of religion.
It
I
is
do
quite
like it.
important. It's just that now we've gotten to a point where, earlier on I used to be scared. I used to be like, I can't treat people badly. I'll be
You go
nice.
to hell.
Pay. What is it called? When bad is done to you, pay bad with kindness. Now, I've just realized, if you come at me with your vile Christianity, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You will meet
Amen.
An eye
me on
for
that
an
same
eye.
frequency.
Eh?
Tupelekane, tuvurugane.
Wewe na huyo Mungu wako mwenye amekwambia uchukie watu, mimi na whatever stands as my values,
Yeah.
tupambane sasa. Because a lot of time, because what people got away with was the pay bad with kindness. So people moved around doing bad things to people, and you were just supposed to be, just be kind. They'll be punished. God will punish them. This is not a Nigerian movie.
Yeah.
They will not.
No, they won't.
Even me, I have friends, I'm like, ati kama walile them, no, be the karma.
Yes.
Mseme kufanya vibaya, mrudishie.
There and there.
Hey,
Yeah.
be the karma you want to see.
If the powers without want to also equalize, wamuongeze juu, but you make sure you match frequency.
Mse akinikosea alafu niona amenifanya tu vibaya nye for really, lazima tu I become the karma I will be. Lakini kwa natoa nikosea tu follow lazima tu miwacha.
Yeah.
But if I become the karma, trust me, you will understand.
Karma is actually the punishment. What we have as God's punishment is actually the punishment in the Hindu religion. So
Is it punishment or is just you get back what you give?
it's punishment. Because the book I'm currently reading is based in ancient India. There were people who are called the Vikarma, who if in this lifetime you give birth to, let's say, a stillborn, you're cast out, because that is punishment for something you must have done in your previous life.
Hey.
So
Sasa maisha ya jana yenye sikupenda leo, sasa nisipende ya leo juu ya jana.
I'm not even coming
I
back.
was scared.
I need to go and read my Bhagavad Gita, man.
do you think religion should be taught in school? like the way in our schools we have CRA. I actually think all religions should be taught
All.
and somebody to choose the kind of
which one
religion
they
they want
want.
to practice once they become
Yeah.
of age.
Actually,
Yeah.
I
Not a
think it
class
should
one
be removed
Moses.
from school and then parents decide. Because what I'm seeing right now is millennial parents who are not taking their kids to church. They're being treated the kids are being treated a certain way in school. The teachers would show them attitude of some sort. Like, you guys are not going to church? Mommy, what did mommy say about the Bible? So, unapata mtoto wako hapo kwenye, we are being taught this in school, but at home, this is not what we practice.
But sasa, like you see how this Islam, Hinduism, like
Yeah.
all those religions, traditional African spirituality, all of them should be taught under one subject. Kidogo tu. And then when you become of age, you choose consciously
Oh, okay.
the
I
kind
get
of
what you're
faith
saying,
you
yeah.
want to practice. Because I don't think it's fair to give birth to a child and you've already baptized them and then you're an adult defending everything that you don't even know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so if I'm
If
having a
it can be
kid,
put in the same, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Because even like if we knew some of the African traditional religions that we had
Yeah.
for our different communities, you don't need to have even subscribed to it. I think it is just very beautiful information to have.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah, and the people who practice it, because even me, I'm for that. Like, wase wa learn, because there's a time tumeenda kwa nyumba ya pastor fulani and they had a Quran. They're like, why do you have a Quran? It's like, I am a teacher of religion. So for me, even like to preach Christianity better, I need to understand what these religions are saying. Then now, by the time I'm also just coming to put Christianity on the table, I know what this book is saying, I know what the Bhagavad Gita is saying, I know what the Quran is saying, I know what the Baha'i teachings are saying. You know, like, study hizo vitu zote. Yeah, because then I'm like, now we can have a conversation, because you're not only putting Christianity on the table,
Yeah.
you're actually putting religion,
Religion,
the
yes,
whole
as a
blanket as a
whole.
whole. Yeah.
It's usually, it's an easier like thing to deal with. And also a lot of times it will help in the sense, is it critical thinking?
Yeah.
Because you know how sometimes you bring up an argument
Yeah.
and what you're met with is it's wrong
God will
because
punish you.
yeah, it's wrong. Like I've brought you facts and figures and you're telling me in my faith it's not allowed.
Yeah.
Sasa tuende wapi kutoka hapa? Kama ilikuwa if you were to get to a conclusion, where are we supposed to go from here? So I don't know. First of all, shout out. I think every episode I've been shouting out millennial parents. Millennial parents are doing such a good job. I think their kids will be about the healthiest generation we've seen yet.
Na Gen Z.
Even Gen Z.
Yes.
Gen Z are parenting now already.
They can.
Those are teen
Zee.
parents, right?
From 97.
Wait, my sister is a Gen Z.
My Gen Z friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're also doing. I think the parents right now are really just doing a good job.
They're doing
Keep it
better.
up, doing a good job. Someone else said, "Hi Olive, hope you are well. I left the church mentally 2 years ago, and officially about a year now. There were quite a number of reasons, including church abuse, the hypocritical, love the sin, hate the sinner doctrine." But the biggest one for me was I couldn't reconcile on the omnipresent, all-knowing, benevolent God with all the suffering and current state of the world. I have oscillated between agnostic, atheist, and slightly spiritual during the deconstruction journey. I'm quite open to the existence of something outside of our understanding, but I think if it's good and knowledgeable, it won't care so much that I believe it existed and that I worshipped it. I am enjoying my experience, although it comes with constant questions from former church members, especially as a pastor's kid.
Yeah, you're an adult. Block them.
That's not how we deal with things.
You're an adult.
Amesema burn to the ground, ashes to ashes.
Dust to dust.
I think that's what I would do. I just block you.
But I think this was a very wholesome message. When I saw it, I felt like this is very, very wholesome. I don't want to imagine what you're going through being a pastor's kid and having to deconstruct religion
But they
for
can't beat
yourself.
you. Can your dad beat you just because he's a pastor?
No, it's not beating.
It's not even beating.
It's just like a tougher like the standards were higher for you growing up. Like the things you had to do, the
Things you had to go
standards you
through.
held yourself to were very different. So for you having to walk out from that is not as easy as, let's say, someone like you who was not also staunch. You were just there.
Christian.
You're learning. You're just in a learning phase.
Yeah, you are just so for people who've been invested in the church, it is literally
We have a church at home, like in our compound. No, like the ancestral land. No, my daddy gave the church, and then
he
they
gave
built.
the church,
But I
yeah.
still don't go.
But okay.
No, Nisa, I mean, your view of religion is not their view of religion, you know.
For-
You're allowed to
maybe for them
practice.
it's, well, maybe it's like let me use the analogy of a relationship, because that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're in a relationship with someone and you need to leave them because they're narcissistic and they are toxic and they are bad, that does not mean that relationship hurts any less. Even for Risatisa, it does not mean living Legion was an easy thing. You still love this man, as narcissistic as he is. You still, like, tearing away from the only thing you've known your whole life is so painful. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And I think there's something I resonated with when she said she's in that phase of figuring out. There's constant questions. Because I think for me, when now I was just like, by the way, 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. At the time I don't know, well, it's about to self-diagnose, but I think I was heavily depressed and I was very suicidal. And at the time, looking at my reasons for suicide, it wasn't so much to do with me. I constantly felt like I'm not serving the world. I'm poor, so I don't have money to put to charity. I don't have resources, so I cannot contribute anything. I was just like, what is my purpose on earth? What am I doing? And then every day you wake up, you switch on the TV. I stopped watching news. To date, I've never watched news from 2017 because it was just like, Sijui who has been killed where, Sijui who has done what where. And I'm just thinking, me who hasn't gone through all these things, why would I claim that God has been faithful to me? What did those people do for God not to be faithful to them?
He has a reason. I told you, whatever way, he has a reason.
He has so for me, that it wasn't making sense. Like, and then sometimes you'd see people who are genuinely good people and things are happening to them and you're just like, kwani hata job ilifika wakati akapewa 7-fold. What everything was brought back to job at how many times?
And
10.
child labor.
And tenfold.
Hadi child labor 10 times unarudishiwa.
No, but also, like, to that, there's also
You.
a natural cost to things, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if there's, you know, you can't know peace without war. You know, you
Yeah.
can't know good without bad.
But my conflict was the people at war. What have they done wrong?
But I think the thing is,
But you see that, and that's one thing usually called the beauty of being human, because there's also we have choice.
Yeah.
You know,
do we have
if I choose to denounce my Christianity, nobody's gonna do anything. People will feel bad, but that's all it will be. It'll be a feeling, you know. If I nikitoka kwa mlango nikisema Mungu exist tena, hakuna kitu mtu atafanya. You know, it won't affect me in any way.
we'll cancel you.
Because you know what, itatoka tu, everything tu itatoka, na nikiamua nimeamua, you know. And yeah, so if I turn it back to religion, I choose to believe. I don't, you know. And so those people that are at war, see that they're at war because God amesema there should be war or anything, but probably something has happened that has led to war. You know, natural causality, the law of causation.
So we
I mean,
understand that because you're being sensible, you're being very logical in your explanation. But for me at the time, the point was you have life because God loves you. You have food because God loves you. God has been faithful to you. That's why you're not sick. And I was just like, why is this God favoring me? I would really like, because it's affecting me. Me, when I see KK is sick, it's affecting me. I want KK to be better. I want you to eat. I want you to have shelter over your head. why is KK suffer? It is affecting me. So me, I don't want favors that don't cut across everyone.
Mungu bariki wengine.
Yeah, kwanza tukana.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So for me, it was just like, what am I doing here if not helping? Like, saidia wengine pia bas, so that it makes sense for me. I don't understand why I have this favor all the time. Or maybe it's your parents praying for you. Other people's parents are not praying.
Yeah.
As in, me, it was just like, I know I'm the one receiving the favor, but I'd really like it if all of us
Received.
and if it
No,
can't,
for sure.
it can't cut across.
In a perfect world, that's how everything would be.
Yeah, so if we can't cut, because you also claim to be almighty. If you're almighty, then it should be able for you to equalize everything across. So me, I just was like, deuces. There's one that was so long, I am so scared of reading it. But anyway, here we go. Unaiona?
Una scroll. Waliandika gazeti.
Hello there. Love this topic. Really eager to hear people's stories. Would love to share my story. Born into a Christian family and enjoyed church, though they normally say you never know how a church looks like until you're part of the church, meaning serving. So I joined the praise and worship team. With an eager heart to serve God and build new relationships, what a better place than church, right? So I thought. The people were very critical. Some would just decide not to like you because you come from a different status quo. Others would portray different versions of themselves, which I understand because no one is perfect and church is a hospital, meaning people have different diseases, but I came to realize some are not responding to treatment at all.
Nilikuwa nakunywa tu maji. Shout out.
Church is a hospital and some people are not responding to treatment.
It is.
I literally experienced bullying from our praise and worship leader. She would talk down at us, yell at us, disrespect us, and other leaders were so scared of her and were her friend. Well, she has the skill and talent, but she had really poor leadership skills. Then I came to realize that there's something called toxic leadership. That's what I was experiencing. The devil was a great worship leader too. Just because it's church, people expect members to be submissive and gracious, and so that is what they expected from us. I knew what I was going through and was not right, and I didn't want to associate myself with such people because the more you hang around certain people, you tend to pick up their characters. Since she was the leader, how she treated people was exactly how the rest of the members started treating me or others. Like if this leader is your close friend and you cannot keep her accountable or her character, it says a lot about you. I later came to realize that birds of a feather flock together. Started noticing some funny behaviors from the other leaders too. To summarize the story, I left the church, but I didn't leave God. I came to learn a lot about my process of church hurt. The most important relationship is between you and God. And then she went on to what looked like just explaining what a relationship with God looks like personally. And I just thought, well, I'm not in the business of preaching per se, so the most relevant part for me was there.
Okay.
Yeah. What are some of the things that came up? Praise and worship. I was a praise and worship leader in so many churches. And what she says is common, and I feel right now like maybe it happens in every church at this point. The praise and worship leader is usually a very mean person. Although they are very talented, they sing very well, they play instruments, but they're just very mean people. I don't know if that position has gotten to their head. I don't know if that's the most they've ever picked in life. I don't get it. I've been in spaces where praise and worship leaders were just completely intolerable. And I was thinking maybe it's because of the pride, you're good at singing or whatever. But for me, it was wild. But I'm starting to realize that it was a common experience in very many churches. So I don't know whether it was something. Did your church have? You said you went to a good church.
Yeah,
Must be nice.
It's very nice to be me, No, but I mean, I've been at loggerheads with people in the worship team, but not because they were mean.
Yeah.
Kuna matem too, there are people who want to exert their authority on you, and uko tu, like, okay, I also don't do well with authority at times.
Yeah.
But we are here volunteering, well, in volunteer capacity. And I'm trying my best to communicate, but you're trying to be your best not to understand it. So tutagongana definitely. And yeah, so nimekuwa na wase very good, nimekuwa na wase wengine irrational, but not because they are the best. Yeah, there are people who are just when they just have that proximity to power, wana kusumbua ni kama they run the world, like watchmen. There are some security guards who will be pure assholes just because they can lock a gate.
Because they can.
Na utawacha hapo na gate yao. Utaenda kutafuta gate ingine. And there are people who will just be like that. Wakiwa na authority. But kupata msichana ringa because they're the best.
Me, I thought it was because they were the best. I didn't, because I was trying to see any other reason. And I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe they're just mean people.
Because they're the best.
The last one I have here says, "Hey OLAVEORAWO, I'm a 24-year-old Ugandan female. I left church when I left my country and tried hard to read the Bible. That's when I found out the Bible really doesn't add up. I was so scared since all my 22 years I was in church, spent the whole of last year trying to convince myself to believe until I couldn't anymore. I looked for answers from my reverends, parents, and only answer they had was believe. I can't believe what I doubt. I left. I'm now 3 months old, an atheist. Forgive me. This is my first time writing an email at 24. You've lived a good life. You've not applied for jobs. Secretary. They were asking for secretary. Hello, I'd like to put in my application. Office admin. What is it that she mentioned?
No, but even me, I think I was agnostic around, atheist and agnostic around the same time.
Yeah.
Because at that point now, when you understand your frontal lobe is developing.
Can you get out of here?
No, because at that point now is when you're actually coming to see the world for what it is. Like you've been in primary school, high school, you've been sheltered. But so unaingia uni, then you're growing uni. So unakam unapata tu wase wamechizi juu wanaweza kuwa wamechizi. Wase wameokoka juu wanaweza kuwa wameokoka. The people who believe for the sake of belief. Then there are people who believe because they have a testimony. They can testify why they believe. Yeah. So
then you realize good and bad happens to everyone.
Yeah. And you can choose to be a good person, you can choose to be a bad person.
But good and bad things happen to everyone equally. Yeah, with the
balance.
Balance, baby.
Yeah.
If you're just 3 months an atheist, buckle up.
I became an atheist at 22.
No, I'm saying she's 3 months into atheism. I'm just telling her to buckle up because that's the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, and she'll have so many questions. Yeah, there are many questions.
Agnostic, the oscillating between.
And also,
but do you think it's important to be having all those questions anyway?
It's not important, but we can't help it as humans.
Yeah, I think because I usually believe that why things like religion exist and beliefs exist is because we need to tie our existence to something. Yeah,
it's a need.
Because for you might not think about God, but you might thank the universe for you being alive. And once now
left the chat.
So you'd find that now also for me why it's important, why you should have those questions, because now you're not only not going to question religion, you're going to question far much more. You're going to question your being. You're going to question your good or bad. What makes you... The difference between good and bad now becomes very clear. Right and wrong becomes very clear. Does it affect how you are as a human being? Yes. What's the standard of being an optimal human being? You know, is that achievable? If it's not achievable, what can help me like even just attain a fraction of it? You know, like there's a lot of it into just being a being that people actually don't even realize that. So by the time now you find yourself falling either back into the religion that you're in or adopting a new religion, because it's I know atheists who are no longer atheists in the long run. They subscribe to other religions that they deem fit to themselves, you know. And I'm like, yeah, because you need some kind of purpose. You know, your purpose will not be defined at your vocation or your career, your employment and whatever. Just why are you alive and what is keeping you alive?
You think there's something like purpose? I honestly...
You're a nihilist.
Like, I can't wrap my head around purpose. Your purpose. Guys, people are here to experience life. Okay.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, like, I think maybe now...
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I need to pay bills. And also I need to go.
Okay, if bills and if your money when
money.
When kukaa tu.
I'm going to Dubai. Things like purpose, morality. For me, kama ni illusions. What do you mean morality? Because
they're very fluid.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Because if I sit down with a serial killer, to me, killing is bad. To a serial killer, him it's normal.
It's his norm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe Orawo came to attack me and then I killed her. But she attacked me first. And then I defended myself and killed. Somebody else would say I'm a murderer.
Yeah.
But I was actually protecting myself, and in the process you died. And that's why you see for me things like morality, purpose.
No, okay. I get where you're coming from, but that doesn't speak about morality, because if it comes from a point of self-defense, then that's different. But if you wanted to kill her and you killed her, then that speaks a lot more about your morality than it does self-defense.
Yeah, I get
so
it.
me who attacked you is where we are judging morality.
Yeah.
But
so
for
her
you,
morals are bad, like they're ziko tu chini. So she decides to attack you, yeah. Where could you defend umuwe by mistake? That has no question any morals, because you have good morals. What you're doing is trying to protect yourself. Actually, it's actually just...
We don't even care if you have good morals or not.
Yeah.
In this case, you are defending
But that's huyu, because we know the truth. Huyu hana
the one who
morals.
came to attack.
Okay, I've gone to Turkana Sindo, and then there's a child who is almost like dying because of hunger. And then there's a rich guy who is not around, but there's some food in his compound. Then I just go pick this food and feed that child. When this guy comes, he would want to argue that I am a thief.
You stole the
I
food.
stole from him. But I was also helping some creature
not
to die.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
it's at
fine.
that point where you're just you're now at loggerheads and there's nothing you can
that's
do.
why we have stories like Robin Hood, he stole from the rich to give to the poor. That's why there's what you call the chaotic good.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
kill one person to save millions, or do you just let the millions die?
So that you have to
that
basically figure it out.
Yeah,
for
you have to
yourself.
figure it. Like that's why I usually say, like at some points even wisdom must come into play.
okay, so now define purpose.
Purpose is just why you're here. Some people.
So why are you here?
I don't know yet.
It's different for different
Yeah,
people.
the people who discover it early enough, the people who discover it probably on their deathbed. Like ainanga ati by this age unafaa kumeja. Like you're just working towards your purpose. Then there are those people who are lucky enough to have found it. Then they expound on
What's
it.
the purpose of an aborted child?
Death. I mean,
Postponement.
yeah. First of all, that's even that's a null and void question, because their purpose even might just be like even just to teach someone a lesson. Pia vitu zingine tu hazina purpose. You can be 100 years old and you don't have a purpose. Wewe a salt shaker has more purpose than you. You know.
Which is better.
But I think when it comes to purpose, I think it looks different for different people.
Yeah.
You know, you usually don't know. It's over the period of life is when you'll figure out, or maybe you look back and realize, oh, maybe this is what my purpose was. Like for me, I don't think there's a purpose that I'm here to serve. Me, I'm like you. I just wake up and it's vibes.
Yeah.
But looking back at my life, I realized a certain trend. And I started being keen on observing it and how I interact with people in that sense. So for me, I realized, first thing, I keep saying I'm a lucky girl. Bad things don't happen to me very often. Me, I just get like to conveniences here and there, traffic, nini, Mpesa ya mtu kwa line ya supermarket imejam. Me, those are the inconveniences I get in life. And
Siku sota.
Madam. It's not my portion.
God's favorite.
God's favorite, because I don't even have cramps for my period. I'm telling you, me, I don't have problems.
God's favorite.
So when I look back at the trend in my life, a lot of times like people were brought to me to almost heal. Like you passed, I was in your life to just, for someone to be there when you needed someone. Olive was there, and this person does not stay in my life. They move on. So I realized maybe that's why I don't keep friends. And it's not intentional. It's not calculated that I nikiachana na KK sahi, we'll never be friends again. I was just in KK's life. I left KK's life. KK feels like his life has been better since he met me. And then I just move on. So I figured maybe I have a healing energy. The way people feel like they can come to me, they can talk to me. The way people send in their very personal stories that they've never told anyone. I just figured, okay, maybe I'm just a healing energy.
Wow.
You just come by, we talk.
Yeah.
Wende, sawa. I don't know if that's my purpose, but while I'm here, it's something I've realized I can do.
Kama hiyo ndio mboka. Ni mboka jo.
I think that's a good
Yeah,
even
so
religion and purpose zinakuwa almost same. Like most people who are into religion, kunakuwa na historia, religion sijui inakupea purpose ama like
it's
they
the
just preach purpose.
the importance of religion that you are saying,
Yeah.
that religion is important in the sense that it gives people purpose. From the time you're born, you're told there's this thing you're supposed to achieve, and therefore you work towards it. If people didn't have that, chaos would prevail.
Yeah, because if my pastors watch this video, wasikie nimesema I don't know my purpose yet, they'll be mad. Because for me as a Christian who's declared my faith and has gone through church and has gone through all this program and everything, my purpose in life is to evangelize. Yeah, is to convert more people into Christianity and everything. But sasa I'm not comfortable in doing that, you know. Sisi kama nianze kukuhubiria ati okoka. It's very ni ngumu jo, ni ngumu, and that's why they have discipleship classes and everything, and you go for all this. Unajua unafanya vitu mingi, you're given handbooks, you're given manuals, like you actually need to study. You know, and on top of all that, you need to study the Bible and, you know, keep on building. So it's a whole. So if your purpose is evangelizing, mimi sitaishi kama pastor, because you know ini kazi yao. So me I work in music and entertainment. So me labda yangu itakuwa finding now that sweet spot between religion and my career and see what I can do. If that doesn't work, it's also okay.
And some people
You're a Christian?
Yes, go ahead.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
Please still. Okay, of late, I've been thinking about the first five books of the Bible and Moses writing them. But Moses is also dying in Exodus. But Moses is writing Deuteronomy, Leviticus, but he's dead.
May God banner.
These are some of the questions.
So there's this thing that we usually say that the Bible was written by people who were inspired by God. Yeah. So in as much as Moses does die probably in Exodus, I'm not sure about that. I need to go and check it out.
Yeah, he died.
But tapata itaendelea, but not because ni endo anaandika, or probably he already wrote a lot of stuff, just that his death was documented at that point. Then now from the rest, because there's also history in their time. Unajua kusoma ikuanza na sisi.
No. Okay, the point is, you see, after Moses dying, Joshua is taking over. So my question is, so Moses even knows that after I've died, Joshua will take over. So anaandika
See, kuna kongana hierarchies and everything. So Joshua was appointed, but not only appointed by Moses, but also appointed by God. So at that point, when come on and take over, there's also like these things that need to happen. Also understand that these people are led by the Holy Spirit. That is also in turn God. That's also in turn Jesus. So wanakwanga unajua hizi vitu zote jo. Yeah. So I mean it's basically just being inspired by the Holy Spirit. It might look
But
like
also
Moses wrote them.
Umeliwa swali yangu. Like, why is he writing Deuteronomy and he's already dead? If
I
Aton is
get
the
it,
one who wrote it.
But then also, I feel like that was also a point of conflict for me when I started exploring and taking myself away from the church, where atheists were just like, they had gone and read the Bible so much and they understood the Bible better than even Christians. And they were just like, things don't add up. And for me to make peace with that, with myself, I was just like, everything there has to be speculation. Me, I don't know who wrote that book. Honestly, I can be told it's KK who wrote this book. But I wasn't there when KK was writing. So if I cannot see it, if I wasn't there to see it, ni sawa. Wacha hivyo mwenye anaiamini aiamini vile iko. Mi bora siamini, it's fine.
Yeah, because even for me, I usually have a lot of questions because even the farther we go into the future, the more is lost in translation, you know. Because the first Bibles that have been translated from Hebrew into, well, from like Latin into Hebrew into English and whatever, there's so much lost into translation. The Catholic Bible has 5 extra books, you know. There are some verses that are now missing in our digital Bibles, you know. Like, so then there are new versions that are coming up. Kama tulikuanga na good news. Sasa tulikuwa tunatumia NIV. Juzi tuko natumia NIV, sasa tunatumia message, and
every publisher has theirs.
And so every inakujanga na their own translation and their own interpretation. So there's a lot that's lost into translation, and now when lazima tu you just go dive deep and just like study religion and everything.
Also, people need to understand at the end of the day, once you're an adult, as you said, it's a choice. Just get to a point and realize. Because if we look back, we were Africans. Before the white man came with Jesus, we had our own forms of worship or whatever we were doing as traditional Africans. And where did that go to? So even right now, I have that knowledge, but I choose Christianity. I have that knowledge, but I choose Islam. So it just gets to the point where you just have to be a grown-up about it. But I know Christians can be obnoxious. Hata I think kwa post ya kuna mtu alikuja akatu invite kwa church yao on this prompt. So you sometimes they are so narrow-minded that they don't naona tu because we are going to have this discussion. This is a chance for me to recruit you to our church is not that bad. So it's the not all men narrative. And I'm just thinking, Christians, I don't know, people in faith just do better. I'm seeing people outside faith, they're also hakuna kitu inaweza kuwa tu mzuri for long enough. I've seen some radicalization of also traditional African religion. I've seen that, and I've also seen atheists being very radical to a point where I'm just like, if you left that church because of the things they were doing, now you're being like them. You're being so intolerant that you're just being as bad a person.
You're becoming the chaotic bad.
Too negative. So I'm just thinking everyone has to find that
balance.
It has to be a balance. But if someone comes at you with whatever energy, you match it. If they come at you with good, fine, they can be good. If they come at you and they're the ones who think they know and they want to tell you, well, tell them to. I think that's where I'm at the moment. I'm trying to see what, sometimes kizungu inapoteanga. What is the current space we're in at the moment personally?
In terms religion?
Yeah.
For me, I just said I am agnostic. I am in between. I would really like to study more about Buddhism and just all these religions. Of course, I am consciously choosing not to believe in anything because I don't want to be burdened by anything. If you don't do this, no. I'm here to experience a good time until death. Yeah, so for me, mine is very conscious. I am choosing not to believe in. So yeah, I'll just go. I'll just go do my research on Buddhism and all these things and traditional African spirituality. The only thing is ours was not documented, so it's very hard to even know what was happening. Amanini. But again, even with traditional African spiritualism, if you check at the Kiyuks, what they believed in, they believe Suji they came from the mountain.
Yeah.
And then I don't know which one they believe Suji they came from Suji Ani. Then Luos Suji believed what? Then like unaona, all the communities had different beliefs. And we know that they all cannot be true. If there's so many attempts to explain the origin of mankind, there are so many, all of them cannot be true. Either one is true or all of them are lies. So even with traditional African spirituality, I know it was very powerful sometimes, but I don't want to believe in anything. I just want to believe in myself and the universe, because so far I've never had a more peaceful life
True.
than right now.
Okay, nice. Mimi, as for me, myself, and I, and my house, I made a clear decision a few years back to get back into Christianity. It's not been the easiest journey. At times, it puts some things into perspective from the belief part, and at some points, pia mimi nakwanga tu nini na happen huku jo, huku ni wapi niko, and there are times when my faith is really low, and there are days when you can't tell me anything about my faith, and just to keep on growing and learning, also just trying to understand what other religions are about and everything. I'm very open to learn. Like I'm in a good space. Not where I want to be, definitely, but Africa too most.
Okay. You I don't know if it's who said that it's a peaceful place.
Mine is very peaceful. I wish people could share.
When you say peace, I experienced peace for the first time. I think I was a teenager. I think I was in high school, Form 2 or something. So you know how we were trained. You pray, you pray before you go to bed. You pray when you wake up in the morning. So when I used to pray, sometimes unasahau unalala. Kwani? So the days when I'd pray, I'd have such bad dreams. Horrible. I'm fighting in my dreams. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I'm panting. I'm sweating. So then if you told people, they'd just be like, oh, that's because the devil knows now you're as strong. That's when the devil attacks. The devil attacks God's strongest soldiers, right? So I got to a point I was like, I'm not a strong soldier. I would really like to have a good night rest. So I think I remember experimenting. Now looking back, I feel like I was a smart child. I remember experimenting and saying, I will not pray today. I see if the devil will miss me. And let me tell you, I've never had the best sleep of my life like that. I slept so well. And that's the last time I ever prayed. So my mom would say, I'm just like, I am not his strongest soldier. I am not going to pray. So ever since, I've not had those dreams ever again. So to me, even that in itself is very mysterious.
Oh yeah,
it's very mysterious to me. I'm just like, what the hell was that, and why is it that it only happened? Even if there's a scientific explanation to it, I'd like a psychologist to tell me what exactly was happening. When
also
I would
there's
pray,
that.
I would get really bad nightmares, and then when I stopped, I've just been sleeping well up until now. So I know there's an explanation to everything. I do not have the strength. The same way I said, I don't have the strength to go to therapy and unearth the things that are wrong with me. I still don't have the strength to look back and see what was the reason here, what was happening here. I also don't have the strength to question so much. So for me, I'm just waking up. I do things according to my mantra is one, do unto others as you'd like them to do to you. That one is, I think, in every religion. I know it is in Islam. I think it is in Christianity. I've had it in Hindu. Just do as you'd like to be treated. And for me, that has helped me so much. I've just been able to spread kindness because all I want from people is just to be kind.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I subscribe to. I am human being at the end of the day. So for me, now I'm Katwa, and then I go about my day. I don't think much about it. I am triggered a lot of times because staunch Christians do come at you, and sometimes they just want to chokora and see where they can reach you. But if you come at me, the way TikTokers say, if you go low, I will dig the earth's crust with my fingers.
Be the karma. Be the karma. If there's one thing you will get out of this, is be the karma.
Be the karma. Be the karma you want to see. Your level, your magnitude unataka affectiwe. Ifanye mwenye. If you just want him to knock a toe on the
karma starts with you.
That will be the title of karma starts with you. Okay, so I feel like we've also sidelined the what is it called? The perspective of actual Christians in church. So we've not had them here. We've also not had other religions. I know ex Muslims as well. So maybe there might be another episode to discuss it. But as for now, I think we've basically, I'm sure of all the things we've covered, you've had your story here, one way or the other. Because a lot of times when you're going through things, you feel lonely. You feel like that thing you're going through is you alone. You feel like when you want to leave the church, hakuna mtu mwingine uko nje ashaitoka church. You don't know. Once you see other people's stories, it just helps. Once you know that other people are struggling as well, it just helps. And me, I'm just hoping you find clarity in this situation. When it comes to faith and religion, I just hope you find clarity. Yes.
Oh yeah, I think that's also true because God's existence is not dependent on my belief or lack thereof. If he exists whether I believe or not.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, whether you want to believe and do what, it doesn't. Yeah, so God's existence, by the way, I could get a question of debate. Yeah, inakuwa just a choice.
It's a choice.
What you
At the
choose
end
to
of the day,
believe.
it's a
Yeah.
choice. You've seen on Nini, when you go to the comment section, when people say it's my opinion and someone says your opinion is wrong. So utapata Mkristo anakwambia your choice is wrong, okay? Na itabidi tupambane naye hapo kwenye mmepatana. So
outdo each other.
but thank you guys for coming. Thank you so much. This was such an insightful conversation. I'm glad we got actually an agnostic female. When I was looking for people to come on, no woman wanted to come on and speak about their journey in faith.
Hata mimi, I think I'll be disowned.
Usijali, nitakupatia pa kukaa. There are so many, let me just say, there are so many women who I think are questioning, but also ni wanawake wameshikilia religion hivi, so it almost feels as if it's 2 times wrong for us to leave or for us to question. And it's okay, you can always question, and there's more. So I can tell you for every except one, every response I've gotten is from a woman. So just to know that there are women who are also questioning. Sometimes we're not too sure, but you're not alone. You're not alone. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. When we have the episode again, maybe it will be a bonus. But when we have the episode again, it would be nice for you guys to come back and at least we have other perspectives of the people who are not represented here, LGBTQ people in the church who are still in the church, probably Islam and other religions.
Yeah.
But
a round table.
tutafanya round table, because I feel like we've not spoken for a lot of
People.
Yeah. I feel like we've just spoken for us who left the church and are very in fact, we left Kitambo that we are very comfortable in the spaces that we are in. So we've not even spoken for the people who bado wako kwa hiyo wanapambana. Yeah. So thank you. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and until next week, bye.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast.
Since I'm in the spirit of touching nerves, really bouncing off the episode that we had last week, which was why did you leave the church or faith? This episode will also be bouncing off that. And this will be experiences and traumas of children of pastors and teachers, to be very specific. Because we realized some people are growing up, and then there were kids who belonged to pastors and teachers. What standard were held for you growing up? What did you feel like you needed to live up to? What was that experience like for you generally? What are some of the traumas you have to date for just being a pastor's kid or a teacher's kid? Did your parents leave the pastor or the teacher at the door when they came home, or they came home as the pastor or the teacher? And when they left, were they the parent at home, and when they left, you met them as the parent in school or at the church? We know that that's a very dicey place to be as a child. But anyway, let's discuss all those experiences, because we know people who are growing up, but you children of teachers and pastors, you require mass therapy. So share your experiences with me. You can always share your opinions, even if you know someone. Sometimes you don't have the experience yourself, but your friend was a teacher's kid and you saw it happening. You can also just share your opinions with me. You can always do that through my DMs at OLAVEORAWO and on email at OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com. Parents, if your parents were a teacher or a pastor, and woe unto you if your parent was a teacher and a pastor. Until next week, bye.
Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.